said okay. And she said okay, and she held on to it, and then she basically trashed me. And instead of having 14 hours for diagnosing me and figuring out whether or not there was a problem at all, CPS had rescinded their agreement to do, like, spend 14 hours to see what was wrong, to an hour and a half, basically, and that was including testing time. So an MMPI, if anyone's taken it, it's a very long test. And I was told to do an MMPI and a parenting evaluation test. And that took up the majority of the time that I spent with her. I didn't have that much talk time with her, face-to-face talk time. I could tell when I sat down and talked to her, she knew I wasn't nuts. She knew that when she talked to me, she was talking to a cogent, clear-thinking individual. And I saw that it made her a little bit nervous. And then I heard her mocking me to her supervisor, though. I went out to get coffee before I took a couple of the tests, and then came back. And so that even that time to get coffee, that was included all in the time. It was like an hour and a half total. And when I came back, when I heard her saying something, she said, I heard her say to a supervisor, she said she had to get coffee. And then this man started laughing, and they both started laughing, and then they saw me, and they stopped really fast. And she made some comment about how I think it was some sort of a disparaging comment about how maybe I was going out to get drugs or something. And when I finished my appointment with her, I went back to her office because I thought that I had marked one of the boxes wrong with my pencil. You had to fill in the box circles with a pencil. And I suddenly realized I think I wanted to change an answer, or maybe I didn't mark this one. I thought that I had possibly forgotten to mark one of the answers. So I had already left, and then I went back, and her door was open, and I saw that she was putting my I'm trying to remember if I saw her putting my tests into her personal purse, or if the door was shut and she opened the door, and then when I asked to see the test, she was pulling them out of her personal purse. And I think that it was that they were already in her purse, and when she had to get them so that I could see them again, she was pulling them out of her own personal purse. Because I think that the door was maybe shut. So I went to the door and I knocked. If I'm remembering correctly, I do believe I am. And she opened the door, and I said, I think I forgot, I need to see the tests again, because I think I forgot to fill a part in. And do you have a pencil? And she said, well, I'm sure everything's fine, and you filled everything in. And I was like, no, I think that I didn't, and I'd like to see it really quick. So she couldn't really refuse that request. And then she walked over to a corner of the room right in front of me to her purse, her personal handbag, and takes my tests out of her own personal purse. And then after I left, I went to the receptionist and I said, so what happens after you take an MMPI? How long does it take until the results are calculated? And where do they go? And this woman told me, she said, well, the psychologist puts it in a drop box. After the appointment, we have an office drop box, or like a basket, like an ingoing and an outgoing basket. And that gets picked up and it gets sent off to this place that does the calculations or whatever, and the MMPI scoring. And I wasn't looking for really anything suspicious, but then when she said that, I said, so there's an ingoing box and an outgoing box? And I said, does every psychologist put them in the box? And I said, when do they get picked up? So it still sort of sounded normal, like I was just asking, well, when do things get picked up to go out? And she told me that, you know, at the end of the day, everything gets sent out. And Lucretia's office was basically right next door to the box. I saw where it was that the baskets were for dropping documents off. It wasn't like Lucretia had to go from one building to the next, so she put my test in her bag. Her office was basically like it was next door to the basket. There was no reason to have folded up